Just here at home, staying safe with my family. We are here in lovely Wilmington, North Carolina. It is
about 7:20.
So today, drove down to Wilmington. Robbie has his second ever Strongman
First real one.
competition tomorrow. This is his first competition as a open division lifter. So we drove down this afternoon, took a couple hours. We went straight to weigh-ins, which was kind of funny because a lot of y'all watching, and myself personally, are from more of a powerlifting background, and just for this particular competition, they did not require Robbie to weigh.
The reason that I didn't have to weigh this time isn't necessarily because that's how Strongman works. It does for the super heavyweights, which I don't know if you can tell, I'm not quite a super heavyweight. So I was gonna compete into 300 and under, which I'm like 270-ish. They decided to merge the classes together because a lot of people had to drop for various reasons, as you might expect. And so I went from competing in just my division to all the 265s, the 300s, and super heavyweights are all competing against each other. So it's a bit more competition than I initially was ready for, but doesn't mean I'm not gonna kill it.
Yeah, we got real fancy. We went to Texas Roadhouse.
I am cleaning out my gym bag currently so I can like actually use it efficiently tomorrow and not have to scramble for every piece of equipment that I own.
Yeah. So this will be fun. So those of you who powerlift, you know generally what you would bring for a day of powerlifting meet. Here's some of the things that Robbie has packed for one Strongman competition. It is 5 events.
There is a press medley between an axle and a Mauser block. Then that goes on to a HusafellStone Carry, to a HerculesHold. And then there's a car deadlift. I believe we're using some kind of truck. I don't know. We'll figure that out when we get there. And then we're gonna finish out with the AtlasStone Medley because what's Strongman without stones? So a few things that I use that's a little bit different than power lifters is since there's 5 events and they're not just max lifts, moving events, I use pretty standard like cross trainers. And then for pulling events such as the car deadlift, I'll be using flat shoes, nice wrestling Nikes, not sponsored. And then for the pressing and things like, and also Atlas stones, I like to use lifters. These are position ones. For the stones, it has this inch behind it, and if you have to get it up to a certain height, it's a bit easier to get up to that height with the extra height. So three sets of shoes for one day. Then for my belts, if I can find it, I have a soft belt here that I like to use for every event because it doesn't restrict your breathing very much. So you can breathe fine and move with it perfectly sufficiently. For the heavier events, however, I use this boy right here with a nice little. Yeah, so I like this because I'm fat and I used to use a prong belt, and whenever I would finish a max lift, I felt like I would die and I had such a hard time getting the prong off. This, it's a button, so you know, it's perfectly easy to take off no matter how tired you are. Another reason I like it is because this is actually wider. It's thinner, but wider than a powerlifting belt. This would not be legal in a powerlifting meet. But I have a bit of low back issues, and the extra width I've noticed takes away a lot of that, so it helps a lot in competition. A couple other things that y'all powerlifters might be familiar with: wrist straps, duct tape, and I'm just kidding about that. This is actually for stones. I put it on my forearms, kind of tagging along with that. My tacky. It's January, so I'm using cold weather tacky. If it's too cold, I have these hand warmers to surround it. Just basic hand warmers, to surround it so it heats up while I wait. And then some nice America half socks, and it looks silly, but you put it on your forearm like this, and then you put the tape around it so you don't rip all your hair out. And it also absorbs sweat so the tape stays on better. Straps of choice, figure eights. These are actually not allowed at all Strongman competitions. Powerlifting, obviously, you can't use any straps. You can in Strongman. This competition, I use figure eights. So I'm just planning on strapping into that car deadlift and just standing up and just letting go of my hands and just letting this do everything.
That's 100.
And then, to wrap it all up, some chalk and knee sleeve. This is
Yeah.
also not legal in powerlifting.
Oh yeah, because it's too thick. It's
Yeah,
that thick,
this is
thick.
a 9mm, which is thicker, gives more warmth, obviously. However, I did buy these a bit big for me, just because obviously you want a tighter sleeve if you're trying to lift maximal weights, sure. But for me, I wanted a sleeve that I could use for anything, such as running with a 300-pound stone for max distance. And if this is crushing like the blood circulation in my leg, you know, how far am I really gonna run? So I needed something that could handle all of it. So last little specialized thing I'll be wearing, it's an A7 shirt, I'm sure you guys have heard of that. But this is the Strongman one, so it has the same bar grip on the back that any of the other ones would have, but it also has that same material on the front here. So for anything where you're gonna have to hold something in front of you or balance something on you or press, or it has to get up you, it's perfect.
So tomorrow, because of COVID, they split up the novices and the women, and then later on in the day, the open lifters are just all going to be competing together in one big group. So we don't have to start until about 1. We'll get there at about 12:15 for the rules meeting, and then 1 o'clock, hopefully a quick situation, and then yeah, so we'll keep you updated with clips from the competition tomorrow. So real quick, I just wanted to share this because I thought it was really funny. Robbie, since his competition is today and we picked this hotel just for breakfast, did not find this as funny as I did. But so breakfast was grab and go, and that was fine, but I think we figured it would still kind of be like maybe buffet style with like hand sanitizer and like glass all over everything, so like you couldn't like breathe on the food, but you could still grab it, you know, like in a buffet. But just at the front desk, all they had, not fully ripened banana. And this is no tea, no shade on the hotel. Nutrient bar. I totally understand why they have to do this, but it's just funny because, you know, we picked the place because it was supposed to have free breakfast, and blueberry muffins. These are bomb. I will eat this later. I mean, I'll eat all of this at some point. Like, again, no tea, no shade. They gave me a spoon because I elected yogurt, and unfortunately this frickin' only has 3 grams of protein. So yeah, I don't know, I just thought that was funny. We actually just ordered DoorDash, so I will update y'all. And this is what we ended up getting. Coffee sold separately.
Meowdy.
Hey! Robbie Collins!
And we're back. We are on the couch today. Tell them how you did, Robbie.
Well, I actually placed second overall in the heavyweight division. Like I said, they merged together the 265, 300s, and super heavyweights together, so that was a super big shock.
Yeah, because you had to compete against some people who were 300 pounds and up.
Yeah. I would say I was the smallest one there by a good bit.
So you're kind of short for a strong man.
Oh yeah, I'm a small boy.
Also, Robbie ended up tweaking part of his trap, 11 days out?
So the competition was on a Saturday, the previous Tuesday. It was my last heavy pull day and heavy stone day. And on my very last rep of stones, just something gave, and for the first 3 days of the injury, I had a hard time doing anything other than just laying in bed. Literally deep breathing hurt.
Laughing.
Oh yeah, if I were to cough, it was so terrible. And I wasn't even sure if I'd be able to do the competition leading up into it. About 3 days out, it started feeling a bit better. I'd say going into it, it was probably around like 80%. And then the day of the competition, it felt better than I thought it would. I still could definitely feel it, and it's still there even now. But it made quite a quick recovery towards the end there. And I'm really pretty lucky that it happened that way.
They also ended up changing a few of the weights for the implements. like on the day, right?
Yeah, so since they merged together the weight classes, the weights were kind of a mystery in a way. I'll just run through all of the weights for the events really quick. So the pressing, the axle was 265 and the Mauser block was 255. So in training, I had only tried to block one other time previously to this, and it was a 235 block, which I failed twice in a row. So I was very happy that it worked out for me.
Let's go, get under it.
I didn't think I was going to get time. Shooting before, when I had time to do that last year.
Let's go!
Some of the other events, not quite so much. The next one was a car deadlift, where that was actually probably my most confident event going into it. I'm a pretty good deadlifter. I wouldn't say I'm anywhere near elite, but I've pulled 700 from the floor. I've hit 700 for 10 off farmers, 800 for 4. You know, so pretty solid numbers. And then when we got to the competition, it was a car deadlift, and it was only a Toyota Corolla. You know, nothing crazy. But they decided to add 500 pounds to the front of the implement in addition to that. So it was the car plus an extra 500 on the deadlift. And if I had to guess, that was at least mid to high 800s, and just didn't work out for me that day. We got to deadlift just the car once, which was super easy, so I was pretty confident actually. And then we just had to try the 500 plus the car. The winners got 2 reps. One other guy got 1 rep. Other than that, everyone else in the weight class zeroed that event, including myself. So it's even more cool that I placed despite getting a 0 on an event. First 0 in a competition also.
There's the famous like Joe Sullivan quote, where you're not a powerlifter until you bomb out of a meet.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like similar. If you've never zeroed an event in a strongman show, you're probably not doing competitive enough strongman shows.
Yeah, honestly, the weights probably aren't heavy enough.
But moving on, the third event, the HusafellStone, was actually my best event, even though I had only touched it one other time previously as well. The stone ended up being 340 pounds. The heaviest one I touched before that was 265. The only work I was doing on before that was just sandbag work and Zercher stuff.
A lot of sandbags.
Yeah, so I ended up getting, it was 240 feet, I believe. It might have been like 248, something like that.
Yeah, around there.
And it pulled out the win for the event, and it won by about 30 feet, actually. So very solid win, and that was much needed for me to get the position that I did. Moving on from that was the HerculesHold. This was a bit of a mystery event for everyone. We all knew it was going to happen, and we were all training for it. We all just kind of went into it just having trained general grip. There was one guy there who was an absolute monster at it. It was 200 pounds per hand, and he held it for almost 2 minutes straight. It was ridiculous. I came about middle of the pack. I was 6th out of 11, and I got exactly 1 minute. So everybody was pretty well prepared for the event, I would say. The person that came in last got 53, so that's how tight it was towards that end of it. The last event was stones, and at this point it was actually getting pretty late. The sun had gone down, and I'm sure you can tell by the videos it's very windy outside. This played a major role on the tacky that I was using. Yeah, for you guys that don't know what that is, it's basically just tree sap that you put on your hands and your forearms to help the stones stick to you better, and if it gets too cold it hardens and it doesn't really work. It's not sticky anymore. Another thing in addition to that is the stones were a bit heavier than I thought they were going to be as well. It was a 4-stone series where we would have to run it up and throw it over a bar, and as the weight got heavier, the distance that we had to run got shorter. My time was a bit slower than I would like. In the video you can definitely see towards the 4th stone I have to sit there, recoup, try to get some tacky off the back of my hand and reset for it. Unfortunately, it just knocked a bit of time off for me, and I was still able to get 2nd for the event by 1 second. Actually, I was really excited. I didn't think I actually got the 2nd place. I thought I had gotten 3rd, but that actually solidified the 2nd placing for me because the guy that came in 3rd also came in 3rd on stones. So, you know.
Alright you guys, that is it. I thought this would be a really fun video for the channel. I don't see a whole lot of strongman competition day recaps, especially for like local competitions, so I thought this would be different, a little fun video.
I think it's a good little like look into what a meet is like if somebody wanted to do one. I feel like everybody that puts these out are bigger name guys, very strong guys, and it's not the same necessarily if like, let's say just you, the viewer, wanted to go and do their first strongman show ever. It's a bit of a different ride. The event that I did is a lot more similar to something that you would do if you were able to sign up for something in your state. I do want to definitely say big shout out to Team Foundry and their first Team Foundry Classic. It was an amazing show, especially with the pandemic and all that going on and everything having to be changed and just all the hecticness that I know that they've had to deal with. It was an amazing show, and I hope to be at the next one.
And you qualified for nationals, right?
And I qualified for nationals, right? So no clue on when nationals is gonna be yet, because of the pandemic. Usually it's around October, so you know, look out for that. Your boy might be competing before that. Y'all stay tuned.
And I'll see y'all in the next one.